So how deep of a plant foot should you have, and how do you transition from a 2-inch to a 1-inch off the ground? So stay tuned, we're actually going to cover that in this video. Hey guys, my name is Eric. For those of you that don't know me, I was a collegiate kicker and punter. Back in the day, I created Kickers of Earth, which is the all-in-one stop shop for educational resources for kickers and punters, or people that are wanting to learn how to do it, or maybe you want to share this resource with someone else that's looking to become a kicker and punter. And there's a lot of resources here on my YouTube channel, on my website, and really everywhere to help educate the kicker and punter, because it can be expensive if you want to go the route and get educated on it. I go to camps and coaching and all that fun stuff. So I try to make a really effective method for all of that education. So today's video is actually going to be about plant depth and how to transition from the 1T, 2-inch to the 1-inch to even the 1/4 inch to the ground. So we'll cover that real quick. So the first thing to note is kicking is all about timing and momentum. If you're in a position where your body is past the ball too much and the ball is in a suboptimal position where it's like raised up and you're past the ball, you're essentially doing yourself a disservice. So you're gonna hear me translate a lot of things to golf or boxing today, and there's good reasons for it. There's a lot of similarities in both sports. You may not think about it in boxing, but most sports have some similarities, and I'll kind of translate that over into the kicking world. So we'll start with the 2-inch, and traditionally, when you come in on a 2-inch tee, you want your toe to be right about equal with the seam, the middle of the football. We'll call it the seam. And that essentially gives you the position. So whenever you come in and lock your foot down, it's right where it needs to be. It's right in line with the center of the football. So let's say you cut the ball into thirds, right? The top third, right in the middle third, and then the bottom third. You ideally want to hit the ball in the bottom third of the football. So being toe equal with the seam right about there is ideal. So that way you're catching it right where it needs to be. As you transition to a 1-inch, you'll simply just go up a little bit more to where the ball of your foot, you would then scoot your foot up a little bit more, right? So the same thing, now that it lowers, you want to go a little bit deeper upfield so that timing is still there. Let's say we go back to a 2-inch and we're up here where our heel is even with the football, or the middle of our foot is even. If we're heel to the seam and we come in like we would off the ground, by the time we make contact, our whole body is past the ball and the ball is raised up on a tee. Do you think you're gonna hit the middle of the football? Probably not, unless you do some type of like crunch motion, so you throw everything down. You might get lucky and hit a half decent football, but you're very likely gonna get under it if everything is the way that it would be off the ground. So if you're taking a pro kicker, putting them on a 2-inch tee and having them plant the exact same way they normally would, theoretically, or based on like body mechanics, you are going to get under the football and chip it. So same thing with golf. Let's say the ball is right here, but I'm here and I swing my club, I'm all the way past the ball and it's raised up on a tee. I'm gonna hit down, chip under it, and it's very likely just gonna go really high, but nowhere. You see guys in sand traps, they stand in front of the ball and they sort of swing down on it, so they scoop it and then get under it. Same thing here, where you're on a tee, you do not want to be too deep because you're very likely going to get a lot of spin on the ball. When you get a lot of spin on your kicks off of a tee and you're just not sure what the hell's going on and it's going really high but it's not going very far, that's a good sign, an indicator that you might want to go down a level on the tee. So if you're at a 2-inch, you might go to a 1-inch. If you're at a 1-inch, you might go to a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch if you can find one. But that's a good indicator, right? So heel on a 2-inch, no go. Middle of your foot, balls of your foot, no go. The toe is ideal. That's where we typically want to be. That's where everything will line up with the kick. So if we go to a 1-inch, we transition. Now we will go to right about the balls of our foot, even with the football. So that will replicate the same thing as if we were on a 2-inch. So take away the 1-inch, and now when we're on the ground, we want to be middle of the foot to heel, even with the football, a foot away from the ball. So you would put your foot there, right about there is ideal. Middle of our foot, even with the seam of the ball, that's gonna replicate the same thing as if we were on a 2-inch at the toe level, and then a 1-inch at the balls of our foot level. Again, continue to replicate that same exact timing. And then if you get away with it, like most guys can, Justin Tucker is a good example. It just depends on how you can time up everything. And I wouldn't beat yourself up about like the heel or the middle of the foot. Just making a mental note of it is the first thing. So we're actually going to cover how to do a drill to help you transition pretty effortlessly. So stay tuned real quick. All right, so here's a really cool drill that you can do in order to make sure that your foot is in the right position whenever you're kicking. So the easiest way to do this is line up the ball on a line or something visual that you can see. And in this case, because of the fact that we want our toe to be even with the seam of the ball, we want to make sure that our toe does not pass the top of the line. Or we could make it a little bit simpler and say, all right, middle of the tee, even with the back of the line, the middle of the ball, the seam of the ball is lined up there too. I want my toe to hit that line, no farther than that. Either way, my preference is not to pass the line, just because it's easier to try not to pass something and go past like this area versus like not trying to touch the line at all. So in this case, the middle of the ball is even with the back of the line. Your toe should not pass the line. And now that replicates where you need to be on a 2-inch, right? So the same thing on a 1-inch, right? So now we do not want our toe to cross the line, because now our balls of our feet are even with the middle of the seam of the ball. It's the same thing. If we move it up to the back of the line, we can now have the balls of our feet on the back of the line, but no farther. Either way works. And then same thing off the ground. You can then use that as a reference too. So now middle of our foot even with the line, or if you wanted to go a little bit deeper, you could then have the heel on the line. Either way works, right? So there's a lot of cool ways to use the line as a drill in order to give yourself a visual reference on transitioning from one tee to the next. So that's the bulk of it, guys. I appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Like, subscribe, share it with someone that might find value in this. And if you haven't already, check out my website, check out The Art of Kicking. All these resources are going to be in the description below. But again, if you have any questions, let me know. Until next time, peace.